Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining in today. Thank you, Ashley. As Ashley said, we're going to talk about a new tool that Autodesk put inside of Inventor that helps us get our Inventor designs into Fusion. So we're going to move into the discussion here pretty quickly. Let's see. As Ashley said, we've got the question and answer. You can type those in, and we're not going to be too long today, so I'll try and get to answer all of those questions before we end. And this particular slide I left in from a previous webinar, just access to your Fusion account. We're becoming more familiar with the Autodesk account site and with the desktop app. You can certainly get these tools from either one of those. You can download the Fusion tool if you want to, as well as your Inventor tools if you haven't gotten to the 2022 installs yet. It's a pretty simple setup this year. So we're going to talk about Inventor and Fusion, and the two of them working in pretty close harmony. This year, Autodesk put in a new panel. It's in the Environments tab. It's the Send to Fusion panel, and we can use this to review our Inventor designs within the Fusion environment, to share those model files within that Fusion environment, and even do some manipulation if we need to. It works with the Autodesk Fusion Team site that is part of the Fusion Ultimate product, and the Autodesk Desktop Connector, and that's a tool that we can download to tie things together. We need both of those to work with the Fusion files in Inventor, and we're also going to discuss a bonus topic, and I'll share that one when we get to the end here. As I mentioned, on the Environments tab, we'll see the new Send to Fusion panel. This is only available for IPT files. We're not at the point where they're sending IAM files. There are ways to get those IAM files into Fusion if that's what we need to do. But this Send to Fusion tool is only for the IPT files at this point. As we mentioned, the files are sent to a team site that you own or that you've been invited to. And if you're not a subscriber, you can access the functionality as long as you've been invited to the Fusion Team project. You don't have to own Fusion to be able to see those files within the Fusion Cloud site. The Autodesk Desktop Connector must be installed, and that again is a free tool that allows us to do this connection between Inventor and the Fusion 360 cloud sites, or actually between Inventor and even the BIM cloud sites. Let's see here. We can also take our Fusion designs and bring those back to Inventor by accessing those cloud sites. When you have the Autodesk Desktop Connector and Inventor open, a cloud drive is added to your local drive setup. You'll see in Windows Explorer, and you can actually browse to that from Inventor and open the Fusion design files if you need to. So it's kind of a two-way street. It makes things pretty nice. As far as that tool and how the Send to Fusion tool works, once you click the tool, you'll see a panel appear on the left side of Inventor, and it gives you some information, and you've got a little help link there that you can explore. And obviously, if you don't want to see that panel again, you have that ability to stop showing that again. That panel will change as you hit continue, and It will ask for the team that you want to go to, and you can even specify the project within that team that you want to send the files to. And if you wanted to, you could give it a different name. You can change that file name down at the bottom. And then finally, the panel will say open in Fusion, and that's if you want to. You can send it and open it up and view the file in Fusion if you want to, or you can just send it and use it in Fusion Designs as a component. And you'll see that in the Fusion data panel as we roll forward. We'll demonstrate all of this here in just a little bit. As I mentioned, the only Inventor file type that we can get into right now is the IPT file. If you have assemblies that you want to send to Fusion, one method would be to turn those into an IPT file using the derive command in Inventor. There's also tools inside of Fusion that allow us to upload IAM files and their corresponding IPT files. Any model changes that we do in Fusion, if we make any edits to those Inventor files, a new Fusion design file is created. The original file, the original Inventor file, is not affected by those changes. If we want to maintain any of the connection or the reference to the Inventor files, we would use those as components inside of Fusion Design assemblies, and we'll see how all that looks here in just a little bit. We can also share these designs. We can use the Fusion Cloud site just to share designs with folks outside of the organization, whether that's just a view and allow them to comment and mark it up, or whether it's a contractor that's going to make some changes. Use that cloud site as a repository to send files back and forth. Fusion models, or Inventor models, I'm sorry, can be used in the simulation environment, in the workspace environment, while maintaining the original Inventor data, as long, again, as those are used as components inside of Fusion Design. If you take an Inventor model, an Inventor part model, and you pull it into the simulation side, for instance, in Fusion, and run a simulation on it, it's going to convert that model to a Fusion files specifically. Again, leaving the Inventor file alone, but that reference is lost. Any changes to the Inventor file at that point, if it's just a single, won't come through. When we're bringing those Fusion files back to Inventor, Inventor uses the standard open box for the Fusion Design files, or Fusion Design file types, I should say. The Autodesk Desktop Connector allows those Fusion 360 files to be saved locally in that folder structure that we showed previously. And Inventor allows us to go in and open those Fusion Design file types using the AnyCAD workflow. It's worked this way for a few years now. You guys are familiar with this panel, hopefully. There's a little bit of process time as we've seen with all others, and then we get the AnyCAD panel that allows us to decide how are we going to use this. We can use it as a reference model. We can convert it. We can change these things around. So whatever you prefer. And then the reverse is true. If you make any design changes to Fusion files, they obviously become Inventor files, and they kind of lose all of that feature history when those things happen. So what is this Fusion team thing that we have to get involved in? It literally is a cloud site where we can invite specific people to access specific data via the cloud, and again, with that desktop connector, still allows us to have a local setup to pull from, to upload from, whatever we need to do. Anyone with an Autodesk account can create a Fusion team account if you've got the subscription, and anyone with an Autodesk account can become a member of any given team. Again, as you create the teams, you can create projects within the teams. We'll look at that just a little bit. We can add people. We can share or manage the data within there. We can view 2D and 3D designs with the use of the Forge viewer, and we can even mark up some of those designs within the browser and make comments, so on and so forth. So it makes it pretty easy. So let's move out of this and actually show this this setup live here. Let's see. Let's start with Inventor, and I'm going to slide a panel out of the way here just a minute. You guys, if anybody's taken the classes with us, you've probably seen this little spindle before. Nothing terribly spectacular about this guy. We can go to that environments tab, and sure enough, there's that send to Fusion panel. So I'll pull that up, and this is what we see. Work on your design in Fusion with manufacturing, generative design, simulation workflows. Send the current file to Fusion team or update an existing file, so we can even see some updates, and we'll take a look at that as well. I'm going to go ahead and send this along. And it's been there before, and that's why you see the update new file. We'll go ahead and upload this guy. You can see that I can choose which team I want to go to. If I'm a member of multiple teams, I can determine which project within that team that I want to go to if I have multiple projects. And we'll go ahead and send that file. And again, I can come and just simply open this up in Fusion. But instead, what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull up Fusion for us. I've got a design started here, and we see a couple of different things within my setup. I've got this data folder has been updated. We'll go ahead and refresh. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's minimize this guy a little bit. That's some details. Sure enough, there's our spindle IPT that I just brought in. If I take this guy, I can just a simple right click, insert it into the current design. You can see it takes a little bit of time to process that. And you get some visual cues on screen for how that's uploading. And then sure enough, it gets loaded in. You can kind of move it out of the way if you want to. And we would normally go ahead and take this and begin to work with our joints to add this into the assembly. So I'm going to select that endpoint and this little circle here. We see a revolution joint, and we can decide, do we want it to be rigid or revolve or slider, so on and so forth. And we'll go ahead and put that in. And then I'll add one more joint to put the pin and this particular guy together. Let's see here. Let's get down and see if we can't get that midpoint. There we go. That's going to go the wrong direction. So let's see if we can undo that one just a minute. Figures you can work it 100 times and get it perfectly right, and go show somebody, and then it doesn't go right. Let's see here. We'll try it right there and right there. How's that going to go? That is going to work. I'm going to say okay, and we'll see that guy snap right back into place. There we go. So we can see that it's not too hard to get those and use those particular files in there. Now, if a change is made to the Inventor file, if I come back in here and let's do something like maybe some fillets around the edge here, we'll go ahead and set that, and maybe this guy right here, we'll set that, and a simple save, and then we'll go back into Fusion. And after we load this guy back up, it helps if we send it over. We'll go ahead and continue again. And in this case, we can see that the upload button has changed to upload new version. So we'll go ahead and do so. And once again, come back into Fusion and we get the visual cues right away. We can see that, hey, the design's been changed. It's out of date. We can see right away at the top of our browser and even on the component itself. So all we really need to do is go ahead and right click and select Get Latest Version on any one of these designs. We'll go ahead and do that first. Let that update our model. Again, a little bit of processing time as this comes over. The nice thing about seeing this live is you get an idea of what this takes with a live setup and even a relatively small assembly. And there we go. Change is made, the components updated. We'll go ahead and refresh our data panel here and see the change to the spindle itself, and we can see that we're looking at version 2. So, you know, some really nice things. And at this point, we have not affected the original Inventor spindle file. I'm going to go ahead and open this guy in Fusion, and you'll notice that as I open it, it opens as an untitled file, so it's not even been saved yet. If I want to do some things like, say, add the threads so that I can see those threads, I can bring that in. Fusion has a really nice tool for modeling the threads. We can even pull Acme threads, and makes things a little bit nice, something they haven't added into Inventor yet. So we can see a nice little setup. And I'm going to go ahead and save this guy. Just a simple save selection here. And let's go back into Inventor and take a look at what that looks like opening this from the Inventor side. So if I hit my open tool, and in this case, I need to go to my Fusion 360 cloud drive. So I'll pull that up. There's my Team Hagerman. Sure enough, the project folder for Send to Fusion. And what I want to look at is the Fusion design file. So that's what I'm after, Fusion design. And let's see here. There's that Fusion spindle that we just created. So we'll go ahead and open that guy. Once again, that process is through, much like opening the SAT, IGES, SolidWorks files, whatever you've got. You can open these. You guys probably already know that with Fusion with Inventor, you can bring in those SolidWorks files. Again, you have the ability to just keep as a reference, or you can convert that file if you want to, and we can simply load that model. And even with the model threads, this comes over, and not too big of a file. It handles pretty well. So if it's something you want to do a 3D print out of, or you just want to send it to somebody for testing, whatever, you've certainly got that ability. So that is pretty much the demo that I had planned for bringing these in. Nothing terribly earth-shattering, but some neat tools for sharing. Again, you can share your designs to outside team members. Let's go ahead and bring the PowerPoint back up here just a minute. And I did tell you that there would be a bonus topic. If you have Autodesk Vault Professional, you can collaborate with your Fusion team. There are project sync tools inside of Vault Professional, and you can set up a cloud mapping to send your vaulted files to a team drive so that you can pull those out. Again, that's that ability to share. It's an upload and a download. So this was a great way for sharing files with users outside of the organization, whether that's contractors or vendors or whatever. You can share this out. They can download the files, work on the files, upload them back, and you can pull them back down into your vault as you need to. So some really neat options that are available, again, because of Fusion Team, the Autodesk desktop connector, and some of the things that have been happening with Autodesk Vault. This cloud mapping setup is available for earlier vaults. It's not just 2022. It's also available in 2021. And if I recall correctly, it's there for 2020, but don't hold me to that one. I think it's there. But that gives you a little bit of an idea of what's there. If you haven't really experienced Fusion and you want to get some more information, we do offer the Fusion 360 new user class, going from basic sketching and learning the environment out to building multi-component designs and drawings, and we even look a little bit into the simulation workspace inside of Fusion. So all of these are available. And then once again, you have probably seen or maybe heard of our different connection tools that are an extension to Autodesk Vault. We offer these and would be glad to discuss these options with you as some additional tools that help you collaborate and keep informed about files in your vault and how your vault is performing, as well as being able to view and print and connect things together. So this is that time for questions here. I'll go ahead and open up the panel and see what we have here. Let's see. What is Fusion exactly? That is a very, very good question. We did a Fusion webinar back in the fall that was literally just about Fusion. It is part of the products collection. You can also purchase it and use it as a 3D modeling tool on its own. Either way connects you with these Fusion team sites. It's not something that you have to, the teams is not something that you have to additionally purchase. And basically teams, it's a little bit like your Google Drive or your team sharing drive. You invite people to access, whether it's certain files, projects, whatever. You allow those people to access those, or you get invited to access those. And it is a really nice way to be able to share designs, to be able to access your designs when you're away from your system and need to show those. You can literally log into your own cloud site and be able to share or view those files from the cloud site. Let's see here. Let me pull this this panel out. And there we go. Any other questions at this point? I know it's a light crowd today, so. See if I can stretch this over a little bit. There we go. Well, that seems to be the only question. I told you it was going to be short and sweet today. Certainly, if you do have further questions or you want some more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to your account team. Feel free to email me, kevinbosch@hagerman.com. I'll be glad to answer your questions, and if you'd like to, have a more personal hands-on demo or a better understanding, we'd be happy to show you those things. Other than that, Ashley, I think we're not seeing any more questions come in, so I think we're pretty much done.
Okay, well, thank you, Kevin. And yes, if you do think of questions later, you can simply reply to that confirmation or reminder email you received from GoToWebinar. We can get those to Kevin or your sales rep to get questions answered. Once again, a short survey will pop up as we close down today, and also a reminder that you will receive a link for the recording tomorrow. And yes, you will. Someone asked about that. Yes, we will have the recording available to you in your email tomorrow. There are a couple.
Let's see.
Other
yeah, there's a couple of questions there. Let me go ahead and answer those. Fusion, you can share your MicroStation files within the Fusion Cloud. It will take pretty much any file type. So if you've got documents or whatever that you need to upload and share with other team members, you can do that. That's not a problem. Fusion, David, you asked if Fusion was replacing Inventor. I'm gonna say it this way: when Inventor began to grow and become a stronger force within the Autodesk community, some 20 years ago, that's when I got involved with it. They started to ask if Inventor was going to replace AutoCAD, and AutoCAD is still strong, being developed and used. I don't see Fusion as replacing Inventor. I think it's a tool to be used alongside of, and it could be used, in a sense of in a cloud world, an online world, it can be used as a replacement to Inventor. But I can honestly say that I don't personally believe that it will be replacing Inventor. There are many things that Inventor does that Fusion's just not ready to do yet. And there's many neat things that Fusion can do that haven't been brought into Inventor. So I think we'll see the two crossing quite a bit. So very good.
Okay.
One last call for questions before we shut her down. Okay. I don't see any at this point, so I think we'll let you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for attending today. Have a great day, everybody.